Hello there, this is Anthony Johnson back with another video. The premise of this video is to display how to create nested CTEs. Excuse the typos here. I just fixed that. Okay, so the task is use a nested CTE to show all the sales for the month of November for each store location, along with the total products sold by each location. Fairly straightforward, so we're going to do a select top one of the tables that we'll be using. Okay, so as you can see, our POS sales table has a store ID and a product ID. Our product ID matches that, and our store ID also matches this. Not the actual value, but in regards to the relationships, the primary key and foreign key relationship. So let's begin crafting this nested CTE. So with our first one, we're going to do the sales. POS is our schema name. Get an alias of S for easy selection. We want to show, I guess we can include the sale date as well. I guess it makes sense. S.sale date. We also need the store so we can be able to join. We also need the product ID. We're also going to need the order quantity. And then we're going to come back up here and we're actually just going to name our columns to make it a little cleaner. Say sale date, store ID, product ID, and then we'll do quantity. So we're done with our first CTE. Now to properly nest it, we need to separate it with a comma. And now we're going to build our products CTE. Products as schema. And our table is called offering, so get that an alias of O. For easy selection, let's bring this up so we can see what columns we're going to select. We are going to select O.product ID. We don't necessarily need our product name. We just want a count of the actual products. So we don't need that. We need the product ID for it to give us the ability to join, because we need this unit price from the products table. And as you can see in the sales table, there isn't any total. So we only have the quantity. So we're gonna have to multiply these two in order to get our sum total. So O dot unit price. And that's all we will need there. And let's make it more readable. Product ID. And for our second column, we'll call it PPU for price per PPI, price per item. PPU, I was thinking price per unit, but we can just do PPI. Clean this up a little bit, okay. And now for our third CTE, let's look at the values. Okay, we want to retrieve the store information. So our CTE is called stores as, let me drop this down a little bit more. We simply just want the store ID and a market location. Our schema, Johnson's Farm Market. We'll just get an alias of J. We just want the store ID and the actual location, J.market location. Let's make it a little bit more legible. Say store underscore ID. So we won't have any ambiguity going on here. And then we want to say M location. All right, so now we have our 3 CTEs built out, but it isn't quite done yet. So what we're going to do is come back up to this sales. We're going to do where s.sale date is greater. We want it to be greater than the last day in October, which is the 31st. So, and this is current year. So 2024 10 31. And this is the searchable way to filter on dates. S.sale date is less than or equal to, it's only 30 days in November, so 2024 11/30. Alrighty, so that's our filter for the month of November. And then we also want the total products count. So what we're going to do here is we're going to actually sum this up for our order quantity. Let's see. Well, actually, we will have one regular one, and then we will do a count of the products, because we still need to have a quantity in order to multiply against our unit price. So s.order quantity. It's not count, no apologies, sum. We want to sum up the total. Sum as total products, total product sold. And then we'll also have to add it up here. Let's say prod TOTL. Alrighty, things are coming along pretty smoothly. So since we have aggregate up here, you know we have to add our group by. Here, group by. Just like with a view or an inline table or a subquery or anything like that, or a derived table. That's what I meant to say when I said inline table. There's various names for it for derived tables, but it's essentially a table in the from clause. Essentially, you cannot have an order by in there, so we'll have to do our order. If we did want to do order by, we'll have to do it in outside of our CTEs. So now that looks good. Let's actually just run this query and see. Total product count. Okay. So far, so good. Okay, so now let's start building the query. So we have our sales table. Give that an alias of S and join that to the products table. Let's choose the scheme, not the actual table. There we go. P S product ID equals P product ID. Then we want to join our third CTE, which is stores. We get that alias of ST on ST dot store ID equals S, because it's in our sales table, store ID. So now we want we're actually going to clean this up. We're going to remove this. Let's just remove this. We can sum it in our outer query. So we'll just undo this, take this group by away. Although you can do your calculations within your CTEs, but you cannot use order by. Just FYI. So now, let me see. our order date. So we're going to do s dot sale date just to ensure that it is within the confines of November. Then we want to do st dot market location. Then we would like to do p dot PPI, our price per item, multiplied by our quantity. Actually, we won't need this because it's gonna bring back more rows than needed, honestly. So we'll just erase that. We'll have our market location, our sales. We're gonna sum this up. We're also gonna sum up the total quantity per product. And the way we'll do that is we'll bring our order quantity down. Just as the quantity. We'll just sum here. Sum this up. This is as total revenue. And then we'll sum this up. Total so okay. So let's just explain it briefly. Okay, so we have our store location, which is nothing too hard to understand. We have two separate tables here because in our sales table we have our quantity, our order quantity, and then in our products table we actually have the unit price, which is the price per item. So I'm going to multiply those two to get the actual total revenue, and then per order total, which is within our sales table, our order quantity, we're actually going to sum those up to count for each product. Our filter here is only going to show October. So let me just highlight that and execute it. And as you can see, we have 166 total rows and 11:30 is our last date. We have 11:01 to 11:30, and that's perfect because that's exactly what we wanted to show. And then we summed it up, the total products as well, as I mentioned. So since we have our aggregates, we have two aggregates within our select list, we have to use a group by. We're going to group by that. And then, you know what, we'll just use a row number over, say, top stores equals the row number over. I'm not going to partition, we're just going to order by. Order by. Now, what do we actually want to order by? We're going to place our function brackets there. We will actually want to order by this total revenue in descending order. Alrighty, and let's add a comma there. We don't have to add anything from the row number in our group by because it's being aggregated. Okay, so let's actually comment this out so we can just execute the total page. Alrighty, and as you can see, our top store is in Galveston. Then we have Houston, Sugar Land, Austin. Let's actually format our total revenue to make it a little bit more readable. Okay. Let's execute it again. No, it's a little bit more legible. So Galveston is our top selling store, followed by Houston, followed by Sugar Land, and our Austin branch is behind by the tune of a little over $6,000. And then we also have our total products sold. So how will we check just to ensure that our product total is correct? Yeah, that makes sense. Let's just double check. It's always a good thing to double check. So what we would do here, we will want to join our sales and products table, have our product name, well, our product ID, and then we're going to sum up all the order totals. So let's actually do that just to ensure that this is correct. So select from sales, our sales table S. We'll actually just join products P on S dot product ID equals P dot product ID. And so what we want to do here is we want to select our product ID since it's a primary key. Then we just simply want to sum up the actual order quantity, which is residing in our sales table. We sum that up, say product count. And then, since we have our aggregate within our select list, once again, we have to use a group by. Group by product. Just for fun, let's just order it. We can do, let's just add a row number on here. We can add another name since it's gonna be a little lengthy. We just call it RM for now. Apology. Row number over. Products ID, the product IDs are unique, so we don't have to necessarily partition by it. So again, we'll just use to order by. We're going to copy this and paste this down here and place it in descending. So now we have, just for reference, we have 24 total products. We have our product ID within our group by. We have our sum quantity per order, which is tailored to each product ID. So we're going to just execute. And as you can see, let's order our product ID as well. To do that, we'll just place a comma here to separate it. Now let's execute it. Okay. No, let's just use the roll up so we can get a total. Let's remove, since we're gonna use the roll up, we're actually gonna remove this. We're gonna keep our product ID in there, but we're gonna roll up. Let's see what we get back here. I'm gonna remove this comma. So we have a total of 1,056 products sold. 1,056. Remember that, guys. So we're gonna comment that out. We'll actually uncomment this out. And our total products sold was 1,056. So let's execute. And now let's just add these up. You select 237 plus 372 plus 217 plus 230, which is 1,056. Okay, so our records is reflecting correctly. Let's execute again so you can see that everything was properly done. Again, quick recap. I like to add the columns first and then come back at the top and for readability, add readability to it by placing your brackets or your rounded brackets and placing your actual column names within it. So we filtered here on our sale date because we only wanted to see the total for the totals for November. So let's actually comment this out. And then we will get, our values will definitely increase. And they increase dramatically, actually. Total products sold. Total revenue. This time, Houston's in the lead. Galveston is second place. Austin's in third. And Sugarland is actually down. But we only wanted to filter for November. So that is why we have our where clause there. We could have placed our where clause on the outside, but it's always good to use calculations within your CTEs to make it a little bit more easier. I also could have counted the summed up the quantity as well, the order quantity, but I just chose to do it on the outside, honestly. Um, we also could have joined our products table to our sales table, so we could have had our calculation there. So we can have one less sum in our select list. But I chose to go another route. And also, we have our store ID and our market location. So the key to this is, although we can join from outside tables, what I mean by outside tables is tables that's not within our CTE. It's imperative that we have common columns between each CTE. So for a product ID, we have a prod ID in our sales table. For our stores CTE, we have a store ID, but we also have a store ID in our sales table. So I would say our sales table is pretty much our anchor table. We place that first and then we build upon that. So I hope this was helpful. I hope you guys have a great day and bye-bye.